emerged in the Parliament earlier this week, on Tuesday, when the NARA bill was tabled by the Prime Minister to govern. It's a legislation, a proposed legislation, to govern the operations of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA. That is the statutory government agency, enabled agency, that is to lead the post-Melissa reconstruction effort in Jamaica. And it has blown up into a controversial issue, a political issue, when the Member of Parliament for West Central St. James, the JLP's Marlene MMForte, rose to her feet and pointed out to her front bench, her cabinet colleagues, parliamentary colleagues, that listen, this bill needs reworking, because it does not fit the purpose that it is intended for. And of course, the opposition members jumped to their feet in glee and banging their desks in support of Mrs. MMForte's points. And this would have been after the opposition leader, Mark Golding, had raised concerns as well, similar concerns about how the bill is crafted and what it does not include to hold those who run NARA accountable to how every cent, every dollar will be spent. And it is NARA, it has an enormous responsibility. Enormous responsibility. It is also going to preside over billions of dollars, the single largest public expenditure Jamaica will undertake since independence in 1962. And given the destruction wrought on us by Melissa, we have to get it right. We have to rebuild and rebuild smarter and with far more resilience than before October 28, 2025, the day Melissa struck. And what emerged in the Parliament and has gathered steam since then is the provisions of this bill and whether those provisions sufficiently capture the systems of accountability that it should observe to undertake this huge task. And you know, it's a test for us as a young democracy. I see some people already quick to chastise Mrs. MMForte because it is felt that she has broken ranks, that she is not playing team. And I want to say this. Westminster parliamentary democracies run the risk of being captured by what is always seemingly in the political interest of the party in power, and in particular, the occupant of the job of Prime Minister. It is somehow accepted that you must toe the line. You must fall in line. Westminster parliamentary democracies, you know, don't work best when backbenchers, when backbenchers are virtually muted, muzzled. And if it is, in her wisdom, her judgment, Mrs. MMForte's opinion, learning, experience, this is a former cabinet minister, former attorney general, a former resident magistrate, She is a member of parliament. She represents the people of West Central St. James. And she feels that, listen, there is merit. And you will hear shortly some of her concerns in this. Then she has every right to say so. And she should not be abused. Yeah? She should not be abused. The more mature response should be to listen to what she's saying, just as we should listen to what the opposition leader is saying, and interrogate the points, the arguments they make, whether those points, those arguments are justified given the provisions of the bill or what is not in the bill. And I think that is how mature democracies ought to work. We shouldn't write off what Marlene says or what Mark says. Yes? Listen, interrogate, and in that regard, I look forward to the debate next Tuesday when the Prime Minister will open the debate, and as is expected, he will deal with the points raised by Mrs. Malahou Forte, the opposition leader. That is how mature democracies work. We cannot allow the tribal nature of the politics, yeah, to stunt our growth and development. We have to get it right. We can't give Nara, yeah, the kind of blank check I hear some people want to give to Nara. No. And for me, yeah, listening, I have availed myself of the bill, yes, been reading it, almost finished reading it. I see where there are provisions, yes, to hold NARA accountable. There's a role for the Auditor General. There's a role for the Public Accounts Committee and the PAAC committees of Parliament. Yes, there's a role that says the committee must provide annual reports to the Parliament every year. It must be audited as the Auditor General may see fit. There will have to be a review of the operations after no more than 4 years after it begins. Yes, it is specific. What I would like to hear, though, the procurement guidelines that now exist in the ordinary run of, public expenditure, how things are procured, those, I gather, are going to be suspended for NARA. But what will replace those for NARA? What will be the procurement guidelines for NARA? Because surely it can't be that NARA is going to be allowed to spend billions of dollars, and then after it spends billions of dollars, we're going to have the PAC and the PAAC coming in, or the Auditor General coming in after. No. There must be some guidelines, some rules that will govern the procurement that is going to lead to the actual spending of public money into its job. Yeah? Everybody agrees. The public procurement guidelines as they are now are problematic and can be overly bureaucratic and stultifying. So while we fix that, because we're attempting to fix that, for NARA, what will be the procurement rules governing NARA? Time for the break.